Okay, well, I'm now recording. In fact, I'm going to do a slow cooker recording. So, I'm going to get the chicken out of the fridge. Can't be sure how thawed or not thawed it is. We'll soon find out, I think. But yeah, I'm going to get my slow cooker. Right there. Right in the back there. Okay. Wait, it will come out. Shit. Will it come out? Eventually it will. Yeah, got it out. Got it. Got it. Now. Okay. Oh, gotta get rid of that cup. Gotta get rid of some rubbish. Gotta get rid of some rubbish. I must get rid of it. Ugh, Jesus. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, actually I might give my hands a quick wash before I place this load of that in. I see myself not using the microwave today, so I'm going to put shit to the side here. I don't see myself using the microwave, so I'm going to unplug it for now. Plug over that way. I'm going to put the rice cooker over here. Don't think I'm going to use the stove tonight somehow. Okay. So this, oh, my slow cooker's dusty. It is very dusty. It's got some, I don't know what's in it. Bloody, oh dear, there's something in it. Needs to be cleaned out before I actually go ahead and actually do this. So, there's plenty like little bugs in there. That'll give the chicken enough time to thaw out a little bit more. If you're not hearing properly, that is probably because my slow cooker is in fact over on the my slow cooker. My phone will be over on the table if you can't hear it properly, if you can't hear my recording correctly. And the slow cooker is over here on the stove. So I don't see how I'm going to be using the stove tonight. If it changes, I'll fix it. If not, I'll leave it. It's just how it is. But a slow cooker recording is coming up. It is coming up. It's sure coming up. Just need to do a few dishes. Then I'll be back to set up my slow cooker. I was going to put my chicken pieces in the oven, but I thought sometimes slow cooked chicken is yummy. Like, it's not as crunchy, but it's certainly yummy. Certainly very nice. I'll be happy to make that with rice for dinner. Or even if I did pasta and sauce, for example, I could do pasta and sauce on the stove if I decide I wanted chicken with pasta and sauce, for example. But obviously, I don't know. I'll see how I feel later. There is a lot of dead bugs on this slow cooker. So I'm glad I'm cleaning it all out, because that way I can use it properly. It is all dirty. It's very dirty. I like to clean up before I put my slow cooker on, because then I know for sure that I've got all the dishes done. And I'm pretty certain that I will get my chicken cooked on time. For dinner tonight. Outside of the pot, because it's just as important to wash the outside as it is the inside, because the outside has to have contact with the slow cooking element, and I don't want anything to be burnt on the element. Don't want anything to be burnt on there. I find it's better to have a very good, very clean, slow cooker. A very clean, slow cooker by the time it's ready to use, because then you know for sure that it will be an invaluable resource for yummy food. Pretty clean. Bloody clean. So, pretty good to me. Pretty good. Now I just have to dry it out. Just have to dry it. Oh dear. I just have to dry the bloody thing. Right. Well, I'm glad I've got the chicken out of the fridge now, because at least it's getting time to thaw out a little bit more if it's still partially frozen. So, yeah. At least I know it'll be ready for me to put in the slow cooker by the time I actually put it in there. So that's the lid dried off. And this is the slow cooker now being dried off, because it needs to be quite dry before placing into the slow cooker. Needs to be quite dry. Otherwise it can cause an electric short circuit. With the conductivity of water, it can fuck up the electrical output, cause a big short circuit. So you have to dry this thing before you actually put it into the slow cooking thing. Right, almost dry, not quite, but almost. Almost. Okay, now, oh, there's a bit of stuff in there. Yuck. Oh, yucky. Hope that isn't plugged in yet, because I don't want it to be switched on when I'm cleaning that out. Thank you. Ooh, yuck, yuck, yuck. Absolutely disgusting. Ew, yuck. Not good. Then I'll have to dry out the bottom of that thing. Oh, yuck. Ooh, that's disgusting. Oh, yuck. Oh, wash that out really, really well. Gross. Clean that all out before I actually put the slow cooker in it, because otherwise it will fuck it up. And I don't want anything like that to happen to my slow cooker. Oh, yuck. Oh, yuck. Okay, I've done the best I can for it. Now I'm going to dry my dishes. Sometimes I think it's useful to actually dry the dishes before setting out to dry the slow cooking base, because that way all the dishes are put in the cupboard and there's no dishes left over. In fact, I'm going to put the cup on the sink so it's there for me to have a drink, because I'm getting thirsty and I need a drink, and I need a cup there to be able to have a drink. Yeah, I need to be able to have a drink, so I have a little cup for drinking. And thanks for reminding me, I need to get those plastic large disposable tumblers that you use 1 or 2 times. And you use the plastic tumblers 1 or 2 times, and after that you chuck it in the bin, and then it just saves having to wash dishes all the time. And they're only like $2 or something to buy them. There's only like $2 or $3, and they last a long time. Especially if you just had a drink of water and rinsed it out and put it in the sink, in the dish rack, you could use it over and over again, heaps of times. But if you were to wash it out after having a cold Milo or iced coffee or something, you might only use it once or twice, because the cup can go a bit warped and a bit dingy after a while. You can. Okay, wipe that out. Have a very clean, dry slow cooker to work with. And, right. Okay. Now, plastic bag for the rubbish. That's the first thing first. Always worry about the rubbish first. Okay. Put that on the door. Now I'm going to get myself a drink quickly before I move on, because I need one. All the dishes are now dry, except for that cupfish I've got on the dish rack on purpose for a drink. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the slow cooker on high and turn it on. So what that involves is picking up the cooker and putting it into its little base and putting the lid on. And actually plugging the thing back in. If I was going to use the microwave today, I'd leave the microwave plugged in, but I'm not, so I've unplugged it. Now all I'm going to do is put it on high, make sure that it's set in such a way as to keep it away from hazards, you know, fire hazards and that. Make sure that it's, over that way. Okay, because then I could fit the rice cooker near the microwave if I choose to do rice tonight. Now it's switched on. Now the chicken's not going to go rotten over the next 5 to 10 minutes. So all I'm going to do is use my Bluetooth keyboard to pause my recording for a while, and I will be back when...
Pause. Stop. Pause. -7, 8, 6. Pause. Button.
I'll be back when I'm ready to actually finish preparing my slow cooker.
-50 dB. -33.41593 dB.
I absolutely love my Logitech wireless keyboard. It does play up sometimes, but that's because of my actual phone, where my keyboard won't navigate to certain parts of the page on some phone. Parts of the screen on some phone, on some pages in the phone with the internet, because it's just how it is, how it works, I suppose. So I'm just going to throw, I'm going to throw a tea towel in the wash. I want to see how cold it is outside too. Can't decide how cold it will be outside. I cannot decide. Oh no, it's quite warm. Oh, it's very warm outside today. I'm going to be turning the heat off. Very, very warm. I'm going to open up the front door too, because it's so... I was wondering why it was so hot in here, and I thought, is this fever or is this the actual weather? No, it's the weather. So, no, that's okay. It's very nice. It's a little bit cool outside, but it's cool as in the weather's cold, but the sun makes the weather warm. It's like having a hot, sunny day. It's like having the hot sun blazing down to make you warm on a cold winter's day. So the weather's physically cold, but the actual sun is out in full force. So if you're near any sunny areas, such as the back door or outside, you can get really hot. But if you're in the shade and you're in a spot away from the sun, you can get really cold. It's sort of like that, which that's alright, because I need fresh air. I need fresh air, and I need another drink. Okay, now I think my slow cooker's been left long enough, so I'm going to take the lid off. I'm now going to put hot chicken pieces in there. Hot chicken, oh God, hot chicken, Jesus. If it was hot chicken, I wouldn't even need to put it into the slow cooker, oh God. Okay, it's still fairly frozen, but I can deal with that. Because the slow cooker is already preheated, it will handle partially frozen chicken. It wouldn't handle fully frozen chicken. It has to be partially frozen, but not fully frozen. It would be very ideal if it was completely thawed, but obviously that ain't going to happen. So partially frozen is better than nothing, and yeah, it's better than nothing. Now I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to follow a little trick that my grandfather taught me, which is to wipe over the very surface of the slow cooking lid, because that way it cleans off any little bits of grime that might have gotten onto the side or lid part or side of the slow cooker. And then you wash your hands really good in hot water, and in approximately half an hour is when I'm going to be setting the timer. Quite bizarre that when I'm at my back door, the sun comes into the unit and it's really warm. But if I go to the front door, well, there's the back and the front, it's the opposite. But if I go to where the laundry is, it's cold. If I go to where the balcony is, it's quite warm.
Minus 43 point. iPhone microphone. WhatsApp. Message. Calendar. Reminders. Clock. 1:08 p.m. Clock. 1:08 p.m.
So if it's 10 past 1 now, 20, at about 1:45, I'm going to set my timer for 6 hours on low. I don't know if that'll be enough though. I think it will be. Because it is a slow cooker, so, you know, on high is going to be really hot. So it'll be ready to get set on low at, 1:45. So that is when I'll be setting my timer.
Reminder. Calendar. Monday, the 12th of August.
So now I will be checking out WordPress blogs and showing you some earlier memories yet again.
App Store, Book, Twitter, Recorder, YouTube, Combat, Word, Amazon, WordPress, blog posts, back button.
I haven't been hungry since this morning. I hope that means that I had a good breakfast, and that's all. I reckon that's all.
This is my right double arrows. Finally left Nerve House. Link. Finally left home. Nerve House. Link. Previous document.
Finally
left home. Link. Next doc.
Check something.
Safari. Quick nav off.
Safari.
Quick nav on. Safari. 10%. Reload. Menu. Heading. My life as a blind. This is my life. / Finally. Well, I packed my fucking stuff today. Some clothes had to come with me. Some didn't come. You know what? Anything that's at mum's can be chucked in the doghouse or burned as far as I'm concerned. They can use the big bag of dog food too if they want. Both dogs would like it, and maybe B would too if given the chance. He treats the puppy like shit, and he treats his little boy like shit too. In fact, he treats both dogs like shit. Only the puppy gets worse treatment. Like it should know better by now even though it's nearly 8 weeks old. Fucking old man whore. He used the other old dog of a woman for this little child. He used another one for a few kids before that. As much as he's an alright bloke, the way he treats kids and animals, and the way he takes mum's shit and takes the blame for that, well that makes him as big a dickhead as she is. So, I've left. And I'm moving to Cairns next week. My brother can make things easy on me and help me. Or he can leave it up to me and I'll book the fucking flight myself. I'm not letting anybody run my life now. They can help me run my life, but they're not going to run my life. If mum wants to yell at me when I get to Cairns, there ain't gonna be any skin off my nose anymore. I'll tell her to yell at her 3 dogs because I'm not one of them. Haha. She drives me mad, and anyone who lives with her gets driven mad. B is of course one of her dogs. Only I'm imagining something while I'm thinking of him as her dog. Lolololololol. Good luck to them. The only thing nice from B today was that I could get a hand if I needed one. I thought of the same other thing just as a rude joke and very bad pun, but said thanks in a serious tone knowing he only meant that he'd help me if he needed to. But yeah, I chuckled as I made a joke to myself about possibly needing a hand. Again lololololololol. Mum was the only one who said bye to me, so either of her 3 dogs as B didn't say nothing, and I figured that dogs don't really talk other than to so B got my little mental joking revenge again. I said bye respectfully to Mum though, because yeah I hate her, but she's also my mother. We just don't get along.
Well, that was a blog from 2012 again, and that was due to me. I'd just left my mother's place and I was absolutely pissed off. I did tell the truth though. I was just honest, but I was very pissed off while I was being honest.
Share this. Heading related. The WordPress site isn't working properly. With the 14th of August. With 2 comments. Leave a reply. Edit. Preview. Next. Comment moderation is set. Next. Previous. Link. Next. Link. End. Navigation. Next document.
Next. Next.
Next. Link. Address. Containers. Headings. Menu. Heading level 3. Search. My life as a blind person. Heading level 1. This is my life. A way to go, but I'll get there. Heading level 1. Well, I'm glad I've taken my stuff away. Right now Troy is sleeping, and I'm happy that I get to relax for the next few days till I get to share this. Heading level 3. Related. Heading level. Comment moderation. Next. Link. End. Navigation. Next document. Next. Link.
Where that will take me.
Address. MDJ. Reload. Menu. Heading level. My life as a. This is. Excitement is building up. Heading level. My brother rang an hour ago. We're going to Cairns next week. So, right now I'm in my room, sitting on the floor, and Troy is lying right next to me. And it's working wonderful to not have to argue with mum anymore, or worry about running back and forth to keep the peace. And it's working lovely to be able to just sit me and Troy down without feeling that someone else is gonna yell at me and share this.
Right.
Be the dog attack. Comment moderation is set to next. Previous. Visited. Link. Navigation. Landmark. Previous document. Next. Link. Next. Link. Reload. Button.
See, some of these blogs are like, I'm in a really bad mood because of what has just happened at the time.
Menu. My life as a blind. This is my life. Goodbye, Darwin. Heading level 1. Well, I'm leaving this place to stay in a resort on Tuesday. On Wednesday, me and my brother are leaving this resort and going to Cairns. I won't be coming up to live here ever again, except to visit and have a holiday for a couple of days here and there. There's no way I'm staying with mum though. If I have to do that, holidaying up here won't be an option.
Okay, so ever since I wrote that post, I have not been up to Darwin for a holiday. So that tells you something.
I used to hate Cairns, except as a holiday destination. I left there because of dramas with Dad.
And actually, yes, well, I did hate Cairns. I had bad memories of my dad, well, my family, actually my family, full stop, not just my dad. But yes, it was partially to do with my dad. So I hated Cairns, and then when I moved back in 2012, I thought, Cairns is a pretty good place. But then by the time 2016 come around, I'd had enough and I couldn't wait to move.
And I figured that I'd never live there again. I thought that maybe Cairns would never become a destination for living, but apparently city developments have made it a more prosperous place. Unfortunately, Darwin is getting bigger, but not changing. The government here is fucked. It's so slow and none of the departments communicate with each other.
Well, yep, Darwin, because it's a territory, it doesn't comply with the rest of the state laws, so it has its own independent laws. So yeah, some government departments are behind, not as modernised, and so Darwin as a whole is still not very modernised. It is getting better though. It's just behind other places in Australia.
Centrelink is national, so they have to communicate with each office department. But when it comes to other departments like territory housing and the like, they are so slow, they don't give a damn unless they see the situation right in front of them. At least in Queensland, financial budgeting is managed way better there, so the government is able to step outside the box in their offices a bit more and help people when they need it. Things still take time, but time is well spent on actually making sure Queenslanders get their lives on track and continue to manage themselves well. At least when I say I need assistance, I get it straight away, and if it's going to take more than 2 weeks for me to get assistance from whichever government department, there's a fucking good reason for that. Mike is gonna call me every 2 weeks to see how me and Troy are, but guaranteed it'll take 6 weeks to get guide dogs on the bandwagon. 6 weeks. 6 weeks isn't a very long time. In Darwin, guide dogs would be fucking around in all sorts. In 6 weeks from when I move to Cairns, I'll have things rolling quicker than you. As for Mum and B, they can fix their own problems. I won't let Mum drag me into her problems and related. Comment moderate.
So yeah, I'm still pissed off about all the shit that's going on between me and Mum and her boyfriend and that at the time.
Next. Preview. Next. Link.
Time.
Next. Link. N. Address. mdj85wordpress.com. Secure and validated connection. Address. My life. This is / second last day in Darwin. Well, I'm glad I'm taking off on Wednesday. Last day in this damn town tomorrow. As for that fucking stupid pastor who I thought was a reliable person, he can go to hell.
This point in time is where I started to realise I'd been going to church since God knows when, probably I'm trying to go back now. I'd been going to church for years, and at this point in time, I started to realise that, and it was 2012, and it was a couple of days before leaving Darwin, and I'd realised that church is not as good a place as people claim. the religious leadership, the religious clergy, they're all in it for the money and they're all in it for themselves. And I started to realise that these religious people who were meant to be helping the needy weren't as helpful as they supposedly made out to be. And that church is institutionalised. It's not even, it's not even a helpful organisation. It's just an organised religion that's institutionalised for people to worship something to make themselves feel better, and it's all self-centred.
Second, well, I'm glad I'm taking off on Wednesday. Last day in this damn town tomorrow. As for that fucking stupid pastor Troy is being absolutely perfect with me. He has been ever since I moved away last Wednesday. I can't believe it. I do take responsibility for the fact that I didn't see his bad behavior for what it actually was. Now I do see that, and I'm never trusting mum or her boyfriend to look after him ever again, or to instruct me on how to treat him, ever again. Even though I blamed myself over it for a while, it's in the past now. I'm not going to let this be a drama for the next 10 years. I will hold on to the fact that Troy is going to have his last few years as a guide dog with more comfort than ever before. And for the next 10 years I'll remind myself that Troy is a product of his environment and will respond to what's happening around me. So I'll be on edge with how I talk to him or act around him forever. But I won't be bearing grudges about the bad things, other than to tell mum that Troy's not going near her anymore. If she wants to argue, I'll tell her that Troy's as good a dog as any, and I'll do what I fucking damn want to keep him comfortable, and that'll be the end of the story. At least Troy knows I'm not the cause of all the discomfort that has happened to me or him. That's why I moved away from it, because I actually didn't want trouble in my life in the first place. Let's just say that when I get to Cairns, church won't be on my agenda until I find a pastor who wants to treat his congregations and other people nicely. He doesn't have to know everything. He just needs to be a little bit reasonable. He doesn't need to put the blame game on everyone, other than to find out who's responsible for shit and put the responsibility onto them to clean up the mess. Until I find such a church, I'm not interested in going. Share this. Email. Like. Be the first to like. Related. Time to settle account. Be the like. Email. Share. Troy is being well. My life. Search. Heading level. Definite. Lever. Edit. The 20th of August, 2012. Visited.
20th of August 2012. That would have been a day after my birthday. And I recall on my birthday at that time, I was somewhere that I can't identify because I left home to leave my abusive environment with me and my mother. So I went to live somewhere else, and I remember having a good birthday with a few people, and it was quite good. But the next day I did some reminiscing about what church was truly like and why church truly existed. And even though there are some really good individuals who go to church, that leaves only some good individuals. Most individuals are just there for what can I get out of going to church, okay? And the clergy's there to make money and talk about how to worship God and preach and all that sort of stuff. But they're doing it to serve themselves. They're not there to help the people at all. Stephanie, if you're listening, I'm wondering if you'd be able to relate to me in some way about that. I'm not here to mention any names. I'm just saying that clergy seem to be all in it for themselves. And, there might be some decent pastors too, but I can't find them. They're hard to find. Oh, well, that's just how it is. On the 20th of August 2012, I realised that church was not a good idea, like I used to think it was, and that it doesn't really serve the needs of the people. And frankly, I think that this Worship God movement is a front for a lot of crimes. It's a front for pedophilia, it's a front for abuse, It's a front for money laundering and fraud and stealing and that. People, instead of worshipping God in the original sense of learning how to help people and being really loving and nice to everyone and helping people and that, learn Christian values and all that. The church has gone into this, let's talk about what we think we know about God, but we just won't tell everyone that really we don't care, or that they really don't really mean anything they think or say. They don't really follow the Bible. I know that for a fact. So yeah, let's go.
Leave a reply. Comment moderation. Next. Previous. Edit. Previous. Visited. Leave a reply.
Previous.
Edit. Leave a reply. Link. The 20th of August. Definitely keeping this blog. Link. The 10th of August, 2009. Time to settle accounts. Related. Heading level 3. Be the first to like this. Like. Link. Email. Share this. Troy is being absolute. Well. Search. Heading menu. Hello. Address. MDJ85 word.
On the 20th of August.
Share. Button.
2012.
Post. Update. Top posts and pages. Smart Live. Bloggerel. Heading level 3. Archives. 13,002. Blog stat. Search. Tech. Notify me. Post comment. 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 Next. Previous. Visited.
Anyway,
Link.
I'm going to go
Previous.
to previous
Visited.
quite a few times.
Address. MDJ85 WordPress. This is related. Head. Comment moderate. Next. Previous. Visit. Previous. Visit. Address. Heading level 3. Excitement is built. Share this. Related. Be like. Link. Liked.
Didn't mean
Link.
to do that.
Like. Link. Be the first to like this. Related.
Didn't mean to
Dog
do
attack. Comment. Next. Previous. Visit. Previous.
I'm just going back a few blogs to see.
Address. End tabs. But posts I like. Top posts and pages.
How far?
Bloggerel. Heading level 3. Blog stats. Heading level 3.
Because
Compliment.
if I do the other way, where I go into the blog archive, into the monthly posts, and then click on older entries, it won't actually go back. It won't click back through the entries. It'll load it, but then it will not load up the new entries, which is pretty stupid.
Search. Text. Comment moderation is set. Net. Previous. Previous. Address. MD. Heading. This is finally left home. Heading level 1. Share this. Related. Like. Link. Liked.
Oh.
Link. Like. Related. Heading level. Comment moderation is net. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address.
Okay.
MDJ. Hello. My life as. This is my life. Sadness mixed with hope. Heading level 1. Share this. Related. Comment previous. Link. Previous. Address. Heading nerve. Share this. Related. Heading comment moderation is set to comment. Previous. Previous. Link. Reader available.
I suffered a lot of physical symptoms at this time too in August of 2012 because I had been drinking really heavily, and then when I moved I wasn't drinking very much, so my brain was like, oh, I'm not used to ever not having a drink, never been like this before, holy shit. So now my current doctor, who's a fucking genius, is freaking out that it's probably going to happen again and end up putting me on... I don't know the difference between taking medication for epilepsy and taking medication for other disorders that cause fits and all that. And alcohol withdrawal can cause fits, so I don't know what the go is, but I'd be on some similar medication regime to an epileptic, but maybe the difference is that I'd eventually recover and not need medicine lifelong as an epileptic usually would. Some people do recover from it, whereas with alcohol withdrawal you usually need medication for some time and eventually you wean off and you get better. But this smart ass doctor seems to think I might relapse into some kind of alcohol addiction and suddenly withdraw cold turkey, in which case he'll have to drug me for a while. It hasn't happened yet, but he obviously knows I used to drink really heavily and I didn't wean off alcohol, I just suddenly stopped drinking. Oh God. It was a wonder I had a lot of bloody problems.
Reader, address, reload, menu. Heading level. My life as a blind person. This is my life. New chapter in my life. Well, I'm somewhere now. And I'll be leaving Darwin. Share it. Related. Like. Link. Email. Related. Previous. Reader available. Preview.
It's a pity I cannot
Address.
go through
MD.
the monthly archives and just read all of those posts and then click on older entries, because if I do that it doesn't work. But if I click on previous and next to go one post at a time, it works really well.
Menu. Feud. Heading. This is my life. Feud. My mum and I got into a big fight last night. I was removed from their place, which is what I really desperately share this.
When was
Like, be the relate with two the 8th of August, the 12th of August, 2019, the 8th of August, leave a reply, the 8th of August, 2012, visited, link, the 12th of August, 2019, 11:59, link, with two, the 12th of August, with 2 comments, the 12th of August, leave a reply, the 8th of August, the 12th of August,
I
2019.
think it might have been the 8th of August that I wrote that blog, I think.
Blog stats.
Check.
Heading level 3. Archives. Blog stat. Comment mod. Net. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Hello. Menu. My life as. This is my. Day 14. Share this. Day 14 of training. And starting countdown to the day I start work. Heading level 1.
Okay,
Visited.
so-
Link. Article. Share it. Related. Be the first. Like. Email. Share it. Maybe she should let me run her over in. Related. Heading level 3. Comment. Next. Previous. Edit. Leave a reply. The 5th of August, 2012. Visited.
5th of
Link.
August.
Definitely keeping this blog. Link. Now I know what writers. The WordPress. Related. Be the first to like it. Like. Email. Share it. Maybe. Something like 5 weeks ago when me and Shirley had a cat fight because she. Share this. Relate. Comment moderation is set. Blog stats. Comment. Next. Preview. Edit. Leave a reply. The 5th of August. Definitely keeping the. Now I know what. The 5th of August, 2012. Visited. Link.
So
Bookmark.
the 5th of August. Oh my god, that's a long way. I used to know this lady called Shirley. I do not know if she still lives up in Darwin or if she's actually dead or dying. I don't know, but back in 2012 I'd said my last goodbyes to her, and she was usually really nice. Sometimes she was a terrible person, but most of the time she was really lovely. But she's got some psychiatric disorder because she kept on talking about imaginary characters that kept on harassing her and making music and singing and all that sort of thing. She had all these imaginary creatures and characters and imaginary people that she kept on talking to and listening to all the time. I think it was similar to schizophrenia, and she hallucinated and whatnot. Poor girl, poor lady. We had such good times too, and we'd go to the shop and eat, and oh, lovely, nice.
Leave a reply. Link. Comment moderation is blog stats. Heading level 3. Complimentary. Landmark. Comment. Net. Previous. Link. Previous. Link.
Just go
Address.
to previous
Hello. Menu.
sometimes.
Head. This is days 11. Related. Comment moderation is set to next. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. MD. Menu. Head. This is date. Share it. Related. Heading level 3. Be the first to like. Link. Comment net. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. MDJ85 WordPress. Heading. Suo. Share this. Heading level. Suo tired. Can't wait to start back at my course tomorrow. Related. Comment blog stats. Head. Previous. Edit. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Reload. Menu. Head. My life as a. This is my life. Drama. Heading level 1. I know it's nearly 3 in the morning, but I so have to write. Share it. Related.
Yeah.
Comment blog stats. Search. Next. Previous. Link. Previous. Address. Menu. This is my life. Troy's bath. And going out after that. Heading level. Troy's gonna have his bath at 11 a.m. So I've decided to sit in my room while I have time to write.
lovely guy.
I'm going to chill out today. I'm gonna do that on the buses and in the city. I'm going to give my GPS a workout too. I won't have much time tomorrow or for the rest of the week to do what I want. So today is the day. And with our new puppy who is only barely eating solid foods, I'm going to need to be available here and there to feed it milk and some food. That's a hard thing since milk isn't good for dogs, so it has to be measured carefully to prevent diarrhea and other problems. I give Troy milk occasionally, but that's always diluted in a 5-liter bucket of water so he gets some flavor as a treat. Mum totally disapproves of me doing that and thinks I'm just poisoning the poor beast. Well, really I want to murder the thing, not. I don't just dole out milk whenever I feel like giving Troy a treat. It's done on such rare occasions and is always diluted a lot. Troy loves it. Otherwise I would be giving it to him at all. Troy absolutely loves Coke, but he only gets a tiny little sip, about 5 milliliters, once or twice a year, and not every year. So I'm rather picky. I don't care what anyone says. Mum goes all soppy and horrible at me, so I just said straight out that I, at least, will be drinking milk, whether Mum likes it or not. A few minutes ago I had a glass of milk and a glass of water, and now I'm happy with myself. Too bad. I like my milk and I'm not convinced of otherwise. Troy, on the other hand, will not be getting milk every day. He'll only get about 2 tablespoons of milk in 5 liters of water very very sparingly. He had some yesterday and this morning, so now Troy won't be getting any more diluted milk for a good few months. When I say diluted, I really mean diluted. Something like 10 to 20 milliliters of milk in 5 liters of water. I'm not that frigging dumb and Mum knows it.
This is where, when I was living with Mum and I was not getting along with her and we always argued about my guide dog. And when I, this year when I did my assessment, you'll find it on my YouTube channel. The assessment went really well, but then after that I decided, hang on, I'm putting myself through all this commitment that broke my heart the first time. Why would I do it again? So, no. I've got people trying to convince me to change my mind to get a dog and everything. They want to write letters to guide dogs and write letters to me and the other doctors I speak to and that. I'm like, why are you going to do that? I don't want a dog. But, you know what? One day I might cave in. I don't think so, but one day someone will say something or write a letter or do something, or they might just write a letter to guide dogs saying, why aren't you giving so-and-so a guide dog? I don't care either, because to me it's like, well, I don't want the dog anyway, so what difference does it make? And I mean, if I cave in, I cave in, but I really don't want to put up with the expense of looking after a dog. They're too expensive. And the NDIS will only basically cover the needs of a seeing eye dog. Very basically. Very basically. So, I still have to put effort into keeping the dog maintained, which means I still may have to use some of my own money to look after that dog. So, they're dear. You know, just get real and accept that dogs are dear to look after. Face the real world. We don't live in a fairy tale land where everything is paid for and you get everything for free. We don't live in a fairy tale world like that. Anyway.
Troy's gonna have. Right now I'm just so happy that I can do whatever I friggin' wanted today. I told B this morning that if they can't look after the puppy every night, they are very welcome to put the dog in my room some nights. I can organize my own life, and as far as I'm concerned, baby equals sitting a puppy here and there won't be 2 wearing on me. I told Mum yesterday that one day I'm getting a poodle puppy as soon as I have the chance with the finances and all that. Share it. Related. Comment moderation is set. Net. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Heading level. This rant. Free. Share this. Heading level. Rant. Freak. Heading level. Share. Relate. Comment moderation is next. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Hello. Men. Heading level. This is my life. Day 9 of training. Work opportunities. And a new addition to related. Heading level. Be the first to like. Email. Relate. Comment moderate. Previous. Edit. Previous. Previous.
Just going
Link.
to turn my slow cooker
Address.
down. Turn it down. And let it go for 6 hours. Okay. Now here is when I set the timer for 6 hours, because otherwise it will fuck up.
Hello.
Will?
Button. Combat. Message. Reminders. Clock. 1:37 p.m. Timer. Heading. Selected. Timer. Tab. Stopwatch. Bedtime. Alarm. Start. Cancel. When timer ends. 0 seconds. 0 minutes. Pick 6 hours. Pick a cancel. Start. Button. Start. Pause.
Okay.
Button. Doc. Safari. Safari. Address. mdj85wordpress.com. Secure and validated connection.
Don't know what all that shit is on the floor. Oh, yuck. Found something on the ground. Yuck.
Tab. Bookmarks. Button. Top posts and pages. Bloggerel. Heading level. Archive. Blog stats. Heading level. Comment moderation is set to related. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. My life as a blog.
I seriously wish
Address.
I could use the monthly
mdj80
archives.
address. Reload. Button.
I seriously wish I could use the monthly archives to go back and forwards through a whole list of posts all at once, but no, it won't let me do that.
Menu. Heading level. My life as a blind person. This is my life. Day 7 and 8 of training. Heading level 1. Man, this week has flown by so fast already. The course is getting really boring though. We've done hardly any cooking at all this week, and the shit we're talking about is just crap to me. Yesterday we went to Macca's to do a hospitality assessment, which I thought, yeah, whatever. I do those all the time just fine, without having to be shit related. Comment moderation is set to comments only appearing after I approve comments. This means that once I've approved the next, visited, link,
That
end,
cooking
navigation,
course didn't mean
next document,
anything.
previous, link, navigation, landmark, previous document.
When I come to Queensland, that cooking course never meant a thing, so I don't think that it was even worth doing a cooking course in Darwin. And it didn't really help me, and I didn't really get anything out of it, and I decided that I wasted 6 years of my life living up in Darwin because it means absolutely nothing to anyone in Queensland. Living between 26 and 2012, my life didn't exist from when I left Brisbane in 26. It stopped existing until I moved to Cairns, then suddenly I re-existed again, as it were. I existed. It's as if I reckon I lived in Darwin, but you wouldn't believe it if you didn't know. You would just say, yeah, right, you weren't in Darwin, really, you weren't. But the only reason it's true that I did live in Darwin is because there is legal evidence that I did live in Darwin. So if anybody decided that I was lying or conning them into thinking that I lived in Darwin when I didn't, all they need to do is go through the police records, or at least, well, they can't read police records, I guess it's confidential, but they can track down through the police somehow that I did live in Darwin. But, oh well. Anyway, my life in Darwin meant nothing. I left Darwin behind, and I literally destroyed 6 years of my life and left all that waste of time up in Darwin, and I haven't got it back, and I don't care because I hate Darwin. Can't stand living there. It's a good part of Australia as far as a tourist destination, but it is a horrible place to live in.
Next. Previous. Previous. Link. My life. This day. Share this. Day 6 of training. Today started out rather normally. I got picked up early this time. I hope it's that way from now on. We had a lovely morning tea, consisting of chicken strips and fruit. I didn't want fruit, so I had chicken strips. They were the best I've ever eaten.
At this time in my life, I had days where I was eating a lot, as in a real lot, and days where I wasn't eating much. And I wasn't considered anorexic, but when I moved back to Cairns, I was considered an anorexic. I guess the people in Darwin, the doctors, they just didn't care. And Mum wanted me to be anorexic as well. So I'm not anorexic anymore. If you want to hear the truth, and I really wish I could lie to you and tell you that it's only a joke, because it's not. I wish it was just a dream that I could wake up from. But, I'm not anorexic anymore, but I have the tendency to to think of stopping eating and going anorexic again, even though it's not as likely to happen now, but it can. I just wish I could be making all that up so I can say, oh no, everything's fine. Because it is, but it's kind of not, being that it's okay, but if anything really bad happens, and it is bad enough, it'll trigger anorexia to relapse again. I'm likely to have a relapse of anorexia if something triggers me to relapse, which is really bad. So I just hope that nothing traumatising happens, because if I stop eating, I'll have to be put into the hospital to keep me going. And I know that somebody said that, oh, you've got to be on a feeding tube to get help, and I mean, that is true most of the time. But because my doctors already know what I'm like, they don't take it as a light joke. If I say I'm going to stop eating, they don't say, oh, well, everyone who says they stop eating, they start eating in a few days. People stop eating until hunger gets the better of them. People don't mean what they say. If they're going to stop eating, we can guarantee that they'll be so hungry they'll start eating again on demand. It will be like an automatic response where they just can't help it, they have to eat. With most people, yes, the doctors will think, oh, whatever, you're just saying you're going to stop eating because you're sad, you're being a sook. Okay, we'll leave you stop eating. You're only going to be going hungry for 3 days, and next thing you know, you can't help it, you must eat. You know, you won't be able to go hungry, you won't be able to starve yourself. But unfortunately, at the moment, I'm one of those people where if I didn't eat, I'd eventually get hungry and I'd eat, so don't worry, if I'm not hungry, I'm going to eat eventually. But lo and behold, don't put me in a situation where I physically stop eating. Don't do that, because I will not eat again. If it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to eat again, that's too long. Even if I said I'm not going to eat anymore, and I waited until, so today is Monday, say I stopped eating all week and decided I wasn't going to eat till Saturday or Sunday. That's already putting me in a really badly dangerous, malnourished state. Really badly. So if I'm in a situation where I'm really traumatised and I really don't want any food, God help you, because in most instances, I will get hungry after a day or two and I'll eat eventually, because maybe I've gotten sick and I can't eat, or maybe I feel like really stressed out and I will eat eventually. But if I'm really traumatised, do not rely on me to understand when I'm hungry I'll eat, because then I won't understand. I will get really hungry. I will not know that I'm hungry. I'll just assume that I'm really sick, but I'm not actually hungry. How can I be hungry? I'm not eating. I can't eat, so how can I be getting hungry? But that's the whole problem. Once I lose touch of understanding what it's like to feel hungry, physical hunger no longer comes across as hunger. It's like thirst. I didn't used to feel thirsty as, I need a drink of water, I'm thirsty. I felt it like, I haven't had a coffee since this morning, I need another coffee. Oh shit, I haven't had any water since last night, fuck, I only had coffee today. And assume it'll be 11 in the morning and I will have had coffee and toast at, 7 or 8 in the morning. Shit, I haven't had water since last night. I'll have a cup of water now, but then I'll have another one tonight or in the morning. So I was drinking less than 6 cups of water, 6 cups or less of water a day. including walking around and going out and drinking alcohol and coffee and soft drink. Okay? Because I didn't relate thirst to shit, I feel thirsty, so I'll just get a drink of water. I can have anything else I want, but I never thought of the water situation. Well, then it was like that with eating. Hey, if I'm hungry, I'll eat, but if I'm not hungry for 3 days, then maybe I wasn't actually hungry for 3 days. Whereas the truth is, I interpreted hunger the wrong way. So if I didn't feel hungry for 3 days, but for the whole time I had a really crook stomach and I felt really horrible and like my throat was hurting and I just felt really bad, to me it didn't register as, hey, you're hungry, you need food. It registered as, hey, I'm sick, I can't eat. And the sad news is, if a traumatic event happens, that is how my brain is going to interpret hunger, is I'm sick, I can't eat. Oh, I'm a little bit hungry, that's a good sign. I'll just have, I don't know, a couple of biscuits and a sandwich. Then I might go without for another day and a half because I was only hungry enough for a sandwich and some biscuits and maybe a coffee.
YouTube.
A little bit
Now,
of
the blind
water.
music mumble.
Oh, that's right. I haven't been eating much for 4 days. Hey, I've only been a little tiny bit hungry once in a while. But in fact, that was my brain saying, you're sick, you can't eat. And when you're a little bit hungry, your brain interprets it as a little bit of hunger. So you'll have a small amount of food, but you can't eat enough, because if I eat too much, more than a sandwich and a couple of biscuits, I'm too full and I feel sick. My brain was interpreting that like I mustn't be very hungry because I'm too crook to be hungry. But that's part of stress causing an anorexic relapse. Because what normally should be happening is your body should feel like you're getting sick, and I'm so starving I have to eat like a horse, and you would. Usually I do. Where I just feel like, oh, you know, my guts are like so hungry I'm just about feeling crook. I'm so hungry. But with anorexia, or with like a relapse,
WordPress. Now, Devair Sharma.
my body interprets hunger as you're sick, you can't eat, and you're only a little bit hungry, so you can have a sandwich but don't eat any more because you're too full after a sandwich. Whereas what it actually means is that I'm so bloody starving hungry that I'm so sick that I also can't eat because I'm so hungry. It's really weird. Now, where my brain fucks up with relapsing with anorexia is, if I have a really traumatic event happen and then I decide, well, I'm not hungry, I'm not having tea tonight, I'm upset and I'm really sick and whatever, so I can't eat. That technically means that I'm hungry, but I haven't registered that I'm hungry. I don't register that I'm hungry anymore. And that is fucking scary, because at any time it could happen. Fucking scary. I hope it doesn't happen again. And if it does, at least I know what to expect. Because every time I go to the doctors and spew up or feel sick or anything, first question is, oh, do you like drinking this? Do you like eating that? And I'm like, no, not really, not now. Actually, yes, I love hot chocolate and coffee, and I like orange juice and this and that and the other. I like sandwiches. And like, oh, good, then you can eat something. Because if I don't register that I'm hungry, but then I don't think about foods that I really like, I won't eat. But if I think about eating something that I don't feel well enough to eat, but it is really yum, or drink as well, of course, but especially food, and it happens to be really yum, I'm probably going to go home thinking that, well, I'm too sick to register that I'm hungry. I don't even feel hungry. I feel like I want to go to sleep and eat tomorrow or next week. I suddenly think, no, fuck it. I'm not having a main meal. I'm just going to have, 3 bread rolls with salami and cheese on. I feel sick, but I don't want to eat anything else, so I'll just have 3 burger buns and salami and cheese. Then I eat that, and within 2 hours, I'm fine. Like, I'm still a bit crook, especially if I'm in heaps and heaps of pain, but I'm fine otherwise. Just a bit under the weather, kind of unwell, and in a lot of pain, but apart from feeling kind of crook as well, I'm fine. As in, that's when I'm in that, bad, situation with the medical procedure or whatever has caused me to suddenly not register hunger normally. This is what we have to go through every time something happens, because once I stop eating, I really stop eating. So yeah, just be careful of that one, guys. Be very careful. I'm alright for now. I'm not in a bad situation at the moment, but if I should be friggin' careful. Make sure I eat really tasty food. And if I'm really crook where I can't eat because I'm too sick, don't focus on just healthy foods that I don't like. Focus on really yummy things, even if it's really fat food, like really greasy food that I like. Because if I regress to eating junk food that is really bad for your health, that's better than not having any food, because it means my stomach is still working, it's still processing something. And even if it's bad for one's health in general to have a whole packet of crisps, or chips that we call over here in Australia, I wouldn't be eating chips for the rest of my life every day to make myself permanently sick in the first place. The idea is to get me to eat something, even if it's just bread and water. Bread and water, or like bread and butter with a cup of water, is better than eating nothing. And even if I don't like food, I'll like something, and I'll keep eating it for 2 days, which means I haven't actually gone very hungry because I'm still eating. I'm just not eating properly. I'm not eating all the foods that I like. I'm just eating bread and water, or just packets of chips, or a bit of toast every day, or like a piece of banana here and there, but not eating properly. But I'm still swallowing something and my stomach's processing it. So much better than having nothing at all and totally shutting down. It just means when I start eating properly again, my stomach has to catch up with my stomach has to catch up again, but not as dramatically. Whereas if I eat nothing for weeks, I will have a really hard time going back onto food. Whereas if I eat really lightly for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then go back onto normal food, it'll be a bit stressful, but a lot easier. It won't have as much complication involved in going back onto a normal diet after becoming anorexic due to illness or severe stress. So me and the doctors have worked out that if I suffer from intense stress, whatever it could be that causes an anorexia relapse, I have to go home, and even if I don't register hunger, I have to find something that I really enjoy. It doesn't have to be good healthy food, it has to be something I really like. It has to make me full, and it has to last until the next morning. Like, I need to get, not overfull, but I need to feel like I've eaten something like a good meal, but it can be something I really like. And it doesn't have to be healthy food at this stage. It just has to be something, and I've got to think of a beverage that I really, really like. such as like Coke or hot chocolate or Milo, and I literally have to make sure I make a big cup of it, because that way I've got plenty of fluids in that beverage, and by the time I've eaten all of that food, it might be the worst food in the world. It might be like really junky, pizza or, Hungry Jacks or whatever it is. I will eat a lot of what I really like, and I might feel sick for a while because I didn't really like that I had to eat. Why did I have to eat tonight or whatever time of day it would be? But at least I've prevented myself from entirely shutting down and not eating anything. And even if I get to where I'm not eating properly at all, at least I'm eating something rather than nothing. So that's what me and the doctors have worked out, and that's stopped me from relapsing completely into anorexia so far. So, which is a good thing. Anyway, I'm about to check
Day
my
6
box.
Well, today started out rather normally. I got I'm gonna go to bed. Share this. Related. Comment previous. Link. Navigate. Address. Menu. This is my lovely guide dog. Heading level 1. I want to dedicate this entry to Troy. I always talk about me, myself and share this. Related. Comment moderation is set to comments only. Previous. Link. Navigation. Landmark.
I really
Previous
love
document.
my little guide dog.
Previous.
Troy. I really
Link.
love him.
Address.
It's a pity I can't just go through the monthly archives and go back older entries, but no, it won't do
Menu.
that.
My life as a blind. This is my life. Days 4 and 5 of training. And my week. Share this. Related. Heading level. Comment. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Hello. Menu. My life. This is days 2. Share this. Related. Like. Link. Related. Comment. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Menu. Sir. My life. Day. Related. Heading left. Comment. Previous. Link. Previous. Address. mdj85wordpress.com. Secure and validated connection. Reload. Button. Heading. This is getting prepared for my first day of class. Heading. Right now I feel like shit. I'm glad Troy is lying right next to me. I feel sick in the stomach. I'm certain it's because of the stress of tomorrow hitting me before it has even begun. To make things worse, me and Mum argued over the washing this Arvo because when I did my washing I found that there was wet clothes in there after a couple of hours. We got into a yelling and insult match over it, and I was glad to find my washing basket with my washing in it. Oh well. It'd be nice for Mum to have told me instead of assuming a motherfucking lioness attitude all the time. She wonders why I fight back. Maybe I should never argue with a lioness, and I'm certainly not being very funny. Mum is driving me mad, and if she doesn't give me a reason to actually feel good about her all the time instead of just some of the time, I'm so going to go off my head. I went as far as to tell her to poke her eyes out, to which she told me to shut up and that I was doing wrong, not her. What I wanted to say, but didn't, was that's because she was the one standing there and abusing me because she doesn't like that she lives in a world where things go wrong. As if I fucking like it. She's the only one I know of though. Actually no, one of my cousins is like her, that instead of just saying oh well, she goes off over everything, and then tells others not to do that, because everyone makes mistakes and not Mum. Or my other cousin for that matter, so we'd best stop being imperfect because otherwise we're very offensive to their intelligence. Well thanks Mum, I feel really fantastic tonight, and I absolutely love having a stomachache. Please make me sicker. Not. Life won't be rosy when I move out, but it'll be a tad bit more fucking bearable.
Oh God. Yeah, see, I had times where I wasn't well at all. Oh God. And then when I moved to Cairns, the doctors were asking me, why can't we try this and why can't we do that? I'm like, oh no, I'll just deal with it. Yes, and then I couldn't deal with it and I was screaming. And my reason for not trying everything else is because I tried a few different options that did eventually make me really sick. So then I have to restrict myself and can't have other options that are similar to the treatments that made me sick, because I'd get sick again. Ugh. I also don't want to get really moody, and if medicine makes me moody and the doctor says, sorry, we can't change it, it's like, well, either you do that or I'll stop taking it because I don't like being really moody on medication. Then say, oh well, I'd rather stay sick than take something that'll make me moody. I'd rather suffer from the problem I've already got than actually create more problems with medication. I've told the doctor that for a long time. And I've said if you're going to see any new problems cropping up, get rid of the tablets or the treatment or whatever it is.
Well, let's talk about the good part of today, before I interrupt this blog for dinner. I want to write about some nice things now, not after. We're having chicken curry for dinner, so that's a good thing. I felt good this morning because I went to Hungry Jack's. I had a classic grilled chicken burger with fries and Coke. It was delicious. After that I had a chocolate sundae. What I found a bit sad was that there were a few teenagers working there, but I have no idea why they were employed there. Why the hell an employer would settle for second best? Like they were all right serving people, but they were really bad employees with regards to their childish behavior and how they were doing their job. For example, when I was getting the sundae, since I didn't want the girl to get into trouble right in front of me, I gently told her that I'd like a spoon and a lid put on the cup, like they usually are. Just because she wanted to know if I wanted something, but of course couldn't think of what the something was. Okay. I understand people stress out when working. I'm not saying these teenagers had to be fancy and most polite people in the universe. They were just a little below standard, but because the employer decided that they still did a reasonable job despite lowering the standards just a bit, they still did their jobs and had to be reminded 100 times not to be out of line. The fact that some of the kids started talking more than they wanted to do their jobs was disgusting to me. Employing someone because they do the job well if they are concentrating, yet at the same time being very immature, isn't that good? There have been people who've been employed, who have been much better behaved than these teenagers. Yet the better behaved teenage employees still did a good job. A couple of people didn't do so well, but that's expected. Today, the group of kids did their best at serving the customers and making our meals, but their behavior wasn't so good. All the same, the meal was delicious and I loved the sundae. I loved how the boss got onto them really fast when things were getting out of hand. Besides the sad behavior of Hungry Jack's employees, my day went all right. YouTube. Now, the blind music mum. I went to Cass for a coffee and can of Coke and loved the good chill out. I got the bus home and read a CB site for a while. This journal is very inspiring indeed. Margaret Romf. Mother keeps writing in it for years to come. Margaret is suffering from a spinal cord injury. Okay, here's the sites.
Unfortunately, this Margaret Romf lady, child that her mother blogged about nearly every day, unfortunately a few months ago she died this year. So, oh shit, I forgot to fucking update that. I forgot to do an update about that. Oh shit.
Heather, link. Who has a rare form of... Who has finished treatments for leukemia about a year? Share this. Related. Comment moderation. Next. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. Menu. Heading. This is my life. Grief. Heading level 1. It's nearly 9 o'clock at night here, so I'd so love to write. I know this afternoon's entry was so flaming long that it'll take some readers a couple of hours to take in, but I'm afraid this one will be similar. I'm reading a CB journal of a kid who died in 2000 and... Related. Comment mod... Previous. Link. Navigate. Previous. Link. Address. Heading. I'm home and safe. Share this. I'm home and safe. Heading level 1. Visited. Link. I've just arrived home half hour ago. Since some of you guys are probably hoping that the blog I wrote yesterday isn't the last one you'll see for a good long time, you'll be relieved when you next check my site. But let's start with this morning and go through what happened in order I think. That's the most logical way to be I think. That is if you can help it. Most of the time I try to write about things in order, even though sometimes I don't manage it. But today I will. I took Troy for a big long walk this morning. Mum thought the way I was going about getting to Woolworths is rather ridiculous, but I told her that it's good exercise and I can catch the bus if I want, because I don't want to cross at that busy roundabout near Temple Terrace. So she agreed with me that it's better for me to walk than to not walk, even if what I do is ridiculous, while at the same time being safer than not, and good exercise. So after quickly drinking a coffee, I took off. Mum thought I was being nasty by leaving Troy in harness, in my room while I drank my coffee. Well, I just told her straight that I wasn't mucking around and just leaving Troy be, without having a reason for harnessing him. So as much as she doesn't believe in putting a dog in its working gear and making it wait for 10 minutes for you to be ready to go, she couldn't really argue with me because she knows I don't like mucking around when I have to go. So I made for my bus in time and got off at the stop before the interchange. I walked from there to Woolies in the way I described in my previous entry. It was so fun. When I got to Woolies, I got a chocolate eclair from Brumbies, and it was so lovely. I buy them every day except that I don't want to put on more weight. I sat on a long bench seat for a while, before going to a cafe nearby. Shirley turned up and I got ready to get my drink. Unfortunately, even though I told Shirley 100 times that I couldn't get between her fridge and scooter and the chair next to me, she was determined to try to guide me to the counter anyway. She took my arm and tried to direct me past her, which she stupidly didn't take my warning early about, and so I banged my leg on the front of her fucking crappy wheelchair. It's not crappy for her of course, but fridge and damn, when I'm telling someone why I'm uncomfortable, they should probably listen to me, don't you think? I told her later that she can't just rush to get out of my way, but all the same, a bit of consideration would go a long way. The difference between her dangerous cart and my guide dog is that people can open their mouths and ask me to move the dog if they can't step over him for whatever flaming reason. But if I can't get Shirley to move her chair back just a little bit, I bang into the fucking thing and really hurt myself. If someone trips over Troy by accident, they can get hurt, but Troy isn't made of metal. Give and take the fact that someone can get hurt on something near them if they trip on Troy, but all the same Troy isn't made of stone. That fridge and damn cart is, and banging on it because Shirley is too damn lazy to listen to me isn't quite so fun. So I yelled at her for 5 seconds and someone had to calm me down. I got my coffee and then intentionally made Shirley feel like an idiot by telling her that bumping into the wheelchair really hurts and I've got a slightly injured leg now. In fact, it's slightly injured enough that despite it not bleeding everywhere, it's still injured. It's scratched and bruised. Even though it's not the biggest scratch and bruise in the world, it's enough to be considered a minor leg injury, damn it. A little bump is nothing. But the way I banged it today and nearly fell over, that's not tolerable for me. Man, I went off at her. I even whispered to the guy in front of me that wheelchairs are dangerous vehicles, and I muttered to myself that people shouldn't have them if they can't be responsible with them. Shirley is allowed to care about herself and her little world, but if she can't care about others around her, there's a problem. The only reason I made Shirley feel bad today is because it's not the first time I've been hurt by that damn shitty cart of hers. I agree in one way that it can't be helped, but it damn fucking can be if I've asked her 5 times to move back just a bit, or to help me in some way that won't involve me getting hurt and screaming at her. If she doesn't like how I react, she'd better start changing how she's treating me, because it's not like I'm asking her to live my life or totally change my personality. YouTube. Now, Joy Ross. Blind fashion challenge. While we were drinking coffee, Shirley told me how disappointed she is with the Darwin Hospital. She doesn't like the way they kept her in for 2 weeks and did a number of tests on her each day, but they still haven't given. I truthfully don't know what to believe. She has gone from kind of liking this hospital to absolute. Me personally, I like the hospital. The medical system is definitely. Oh well. I won't go into it any more than this. Shirley is living her life. Mum can help Troy as much as she wants to, and I'm happy she wants to be so kind to him. But at the end of the day, Troy is living my life, not my mum's life. Share this. Heading level 3.
Yeah, so this is when I was fighting with my former friend Shirley because she didn't have any understanding that her wheelchair, not only is it bigger than me, it is really, really, really sturdy, and it's an electric wheelchair. So no amount of push and shove can actually make the wheelchair stop. So if she pushes the wheelchair into me and I push back, all that will do is force me further into the resistance of the wheelchair, which will cause even more injury. It's like trying to push a car that's driving over you, trying to push a car back to stop it from running you over, when all it means is that the car's just going to keep driving over you no matter how much you resist it. So Shirley did not understand that her wheelchair was a very dangerous vehicle, and I asked her to respect my wishes a number of times and reverse back to let me pass her wheelchair to the counter at this cafeteria in Darwin. But she did not respect me, and of course I kept getting hurt, and I got really angry at her eventually. Got really pissed off with her.
Related. Comment mod neg. Previous. Link. Previous. Link. Address. MDJ. Hello. Menu. Heading. My life as a blind. This is my life. Lazy and tired. But I stayed up forever last night. Stacy's having a hard time with her family at the moment. I know her problems have been going on for a long time, but lately she has really had it tough, especially with her newly diagnosed condition. So I ended up listening to her for at least 3 and a bit hours. She has a doctor who's willing to help her, so she should come out of the crap now. Seriously, when people treat. Today I woke up and planned on sitting on my bum all day. I sort of did, but I also had to get the dishes done and vacuum the floor and brush all the hair off Troy. Mum put her miserable attitude onto me this morning, but I didn't listen to it. When I move out, I'll brush Troy inside for all I care. I can use a vacuum cleaner. Too bad what Mum thinks of hair on the lawn. It's only dog hair and it'll break down. She has 2 choices. She can watch Troy shed hair in the house, or she can watch Troy's hair being brushed off him outside. The third choice, if there is one, is for her to butt out of my life and leave me the hell alone. Besides her depression trip, I had an alright day. I played Sudoku for a couple of hours and ate a baked bean and cheese sandwich for lunch. This afternoon I had sausage and curry, which was left over from last night. I won't need anything till tomorrow morning now. I'm gonna wake up early and get ready to go for a long walk.
This is where my tendency to not eat consistently was. I'd eat food in the morning and at lunchtime, and I'd have some food in the afternoon about 4ish or something like that, 4 o'clock PM or whatever. But then I would not eat until the next day, and it's like, oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is why the doctors nowadays are making sure that I eat consistently, because we know what I used to be like. I'd have some really good days of eating and some really bad days, and now I still have a bad day, but only once, not even every month. It might be once every 3 months, where I might not eat for more than 12 hours. Maybe I slept in really late, maybe I feel sick and I haven't eaten since breakfast time and I won't eat till the next day. So at most I won't have eaten for 24 hours, very, very, very seldomly, maybe once a year. And maybe I might not go, maybe I might go without food for 12 hours once every 3-4 months. But that being that I eat dinner at 5 in the afternoon, or say 6 in the afternoon, and then the next day I might sleep in till 10 o'clock and then think, oh shit, I'm starving, I'm hungry. And then I'll eat. But luckily, if the doctor knows it's because I've slept in and not because I feel sick, I'm not hungry, or I haven't registered hunger as hunger, so like my brain isn't registering hunger properly, the doctor knows that it's not an anorexia trigger. So he's like, fine, if you sleep in and you go for more than 12 hours without eating, but you're actually sleeping in and you wake up and then you eat when you wake up, then that's totally normal, because you're not deregistering hunger or like not interpreting hunger correctly. It's just that you stay up all night and sleep until the next afternoon. Of course you're not going to eat till you wake up. So that's not anorexia. It's not a relapse coming on. So this is why the doctors have to do an assessment, because one day I could very well tell him, no, haven't eaten since yesterday, and no, I haven't eaten breakfast, and no, I'm not hungry. You know, if that happens, oh man, he'll freak out. He'll be like, oh no. He'll put me on an appetite stimulant, make me really hungry. And I'll have to stay on an appetite stimulant for fucking weeks to months until I recover, and then slowly come off the appetite stimulant. That's what he'll have to do to me. I don't like that, but that's what'll happen if I go hungry, because I'm not registering properly that I'm actually hungry. Big problem, if it becomes a problem. Right now, I am very lucky to say that I'm doing quite fine. And that my, taking longer to get a meal than expected is not anorexia. It is sleeping in late. It is being really tired and lying around for 2 hours before going, oh shit, I woke up at 8 and it's now 10 o'clock and I haven't gone to sleep since 8 o'clock and I'm hungry. I'll eat at 10 o'clock. Thinking, oh shit, I should put the book down. I woke up at 8 to run to the toilet and then start reading a book. Shit, it's 10 o'clock, I need to put the book down and eat. That's not anorexia, that's just laziness. Because anorexia is varying degrees. It's, I'm not hungry, I can't eat. And in other people, it's, other symptoms, include not being able to register that you're hungry, or feeling too sick that you can't eat if you're hungry or not hungry, regardless you can't eat, or registering hunger as I'm sick, so I can't eat when you're actually hungry and must eat, but you can't because your brain thinks that I'm sick, I can't eat. So it's that not registering hunger properly. See, my anorexia is, it's not relapsed at the moment, so I'm lucky that I've been doing quite well, and I was about to relapse in February because of my bad period problems, but my anorexic problems aren't body image. They're not, some of it, there is a mild self-image problem where I think I'm too fat and I have to eat less. But most of my anorexic trouble isn't due to body image. It is a little bit, but at least if the doctor says, no, you can't eat less food, you'll be right, just keep eating. It's like, yeah, whatever, who gives a fuck if I'm fat, whatever. But it's more to do with stress and feeling traumatized to the point that I can't register hunger properly. It's anorexia caused by different reasons, creating different symptoms. But like I keep saying, I'm fine at the moment. Yeah, I do sometimes feel overweight and I think, I should eat less because I'm overweight, but then I don't let it get to me too much because it's just how I think. I don't have a voice in my head telling me anything. I just think, oh shit, I think I'm fat. But who cares? I'm going to eat anyway. I don't give a shit. So my risk of developing anorexia is more prominent due to stress than it is due to body image. So unless I suffer from a really traumatizing event or get very, very ill with something, with a stomach virus or something, I probably won't relapse into anorexia for a long time. I hope it won't be ever again. But anyway, life is life and you've got to take what comes with it. At the moment, I can say I'm doing fine, but at the time of writing these blogs, I had inconsistent days of not eating versus eating a lot other days, and my body kept getting confused, and that's how I'd feel sick, because some days I wouldn't eat anything and other days I'd eat a big heap of food, and my body didn't know what routine it was meant to adopt. Like, it didn't know if I was going to eat consistently every day or if I was not going to eat consistently every day of the week. So my body was just, yuck, can't handle this shit, and was just chucked into more stress, which made it worse. So I'm lucky to be okay so far this year, since February, when I nearly almost relapsed into an anorexic thing. It's not good. See, people get eating disorders for different reasons. Some people get it for body image, some people get it because they're so stressed they physically can't eat and they develop anorexia. It isn't because of body image, it's because, hey, if I'm hungry I feel so ill I can't eat anyway, and actually I'm so sick or so stressed or so traumatized I no longer feel hunger. And if my body is hungry, my brain is registering it as sickness instead of hunger. Like, all those things can go wrong when you suffer from trauma. So anorexia can come on everyone says, it comes on when people feel fat. Well, okay, that's probably the most common type of anorexia nervosa, as they call it. Anorexia nervosa, But there are other types of varying degrees of, anorexia, from mild to where you can't eat some days but you do eat, just not properly, and to really, severe, where you can't eat at all and need help to learn how to eat. And if it's really bad, you can die from it. And it's not always about body image. Some people stress so much they can't eat anymore. But anyway, that's my thing with this whole eating disorder issue.
Today I woke up and planned on sitting on my bum all day.
I had inconsistent times of eating a lot and not eating a lot, is what the whole point of this blog was. When I wrote my blog, some days I was in a good mood to eat all day and other days not, couldn't touch any food. Ugh. And I do believe that some of it was hormone related, because I remember in February this year I was starting to relapse because I felt so crook from my hormones playing up on me. So it can be hormone related as well. But there's no doubt in reading my blogs that not only was it hormone related, it was very stress related. So even if I've got my hormones corrected by taking medicine every day, there is still a chance I could relapse into anorexia, purely from being too traumatized. So I have to be careful with that. But like I said, don't worry, because I'm fine right now. I'm fine.
I'm meeting Shirley at the Oasis at 10 o'clock. So I'll take a bus to a bus stop near the depot in the morning, and we'll walk. Share this. Comment moderation is set to blog stats. Comment moderation is set to comment zone. Next. Previous. Previous. Slash. Address. Reload. Button. Menu. My life as a blind. This is my life. Today's meeting turned out better than I expected. Hey, I hope everyone else is having a good day. On Monday morning Adrian will be picking me up, and I'll take Troy. Man, it all sounds pretty exciting. Marula loves the fact that I'm going to train for 5 weeks, and she wants to see a few photos. I'll see what comes of that over the next 5 weeks. I'm rather happy about today. I celebrated by having a can of Coke when I was dropped off at Casuarina. Marula turned up at nearly 1 o'clock, so we went to a Chinese restaurant above the food court. The food is expensive there, but it's really nice. Share this. Heading level 3.
Oh, I think at that time I had an O&M meeting, and I think I had...
On Monday morning Adrian will... Hey, I hope everyone else is having a good day, or night, depending on their location in the world. My day turned out really good. I was picked up late this morning because of something else that needed to be done first, so it meant Adrian got the car a bit later than he'd expected it to arrive at Guide Dogs. In the end we got to our meeting on time. It turned out really nice. I'm finding the people very accommodating. I was freaking out that things wouldn't work out so well, but apparently they have. Basically, we had a quick tour of the training room because all the stuff wasn't set up there, so me and Adrian got a good look around while one of the staff lady on Monday.
That was the meeting to do with me starting my... that was a meeting to start my training course for cooking preparation, and I had to go to the training room to learn how to get it. I had to learn how to get around in there, and I was really happy that the meeting was really good and the staff accepted me and that. And then I got to have a good feed in the afternoon. Well, I think I had a can of Coke, and I don't know if I ate very well that day or not. I can't remember, but mate, I'm so fucking glad I'm not in that situation where one day I feel sick, next day I feel fine, next day I'm just not hungry but I'm fine. Like, I'm not in that fucking situation. I am so fucking happy about that. Yes, good. Can't wait to jump up and down at the doctor's in December. Jump up and down. Hello, how's everything going? Because you know what? Like, I don't know what to complain about. I don't have a clue what to say. Oh God. I will have something to complain about when I ring the dentist to get my bloody teeth cleaned next year. Oh, I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy. Oh God. Oh damn. Anyway, I'm going to get going.
Calculate notes, messages, no, App Store, book, Twitter, YouTube, 5 new items, Recorder HQ, WhatsApp, YouTube, 5, Combank, Recorder HQ, Recorder HQ, settings, dim, button, stop, button.
I'm going to get going. I hope you will enjoy this recording. I hope you will like it, because I've spent quite a bit of time on here reminiscing over some blogs. I'm just pissed off really that I can't go into my monthly archives and just go back through older entries like that, because then I get a whole list of posts to read through all at once. Whole list of posts. But no, when I click on older entries, no, doesn't want to fucking work. Stupid fucking website. So I have to click on previous or next to go one post at a time to get where I want to go. Oh well, anyway, that's me for now. I will be back later. I don't want to forget, but I hope I won't. I'd like to come back later when I'm serving dinner and putting it away.
Stop button.